I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
Yes or no? Did you ever take banned substances to enhance your cycling performance?
Yes.
I had no prior knowledge of the planned assault on Nancy Kerrigan.
I am deeply sorry for my irresponsible and selfish behavior I engaged in.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Oops the Podcast. I'm Giulio Gallerati. I'm joined by Francis Ellis. Francis, how you doing?
I'm good.
Oops the Podcast, baby.
What's up?
Here we are.
Here
again.
we are.
Dude, how are you feeling right now about things? I feel like this is the equivalent of in a climbing documentary when they show you like pitch 25 and it's the hardest one and it's like 3/4 up the mountain. Like that's how COVID is starting to feel to me.
Okay, so here's what I would say. Today I read something about some woman on Twitter had coined the phrase a pandemic wall.
Oh, interesting.
She'd hit a pandemic wall. And I have to say that when I hear a term like that, it starts to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
So like I didn't realize how shitty I felt, or I wasn't acknowledging it, or maybe I didn't even feel that
that's the
shitty
thing.
until somebody fucking identified it for me.
I don't think so, dude. Because I'm here talking about it. You're acknowledging that it's a thing you felt like it must have been impacting you in some way. I get what you're saying by like you were maybe thinking about it, but like if she's publishing it and people are reading it and agreeing, like
yeah,
there's
but
something
dude,
there.
it's my point. Like everyone's what a catchy term, what a clearly identifiable phrase. And if I hadn't heard that term, I would never have thought that I had necessarily hit a wall at this point. But as soon as I read that and read her theory and that everyone was feeling this way, I was like, yeah, me too.
Right. And dude, it's funny. It's like the wall is also interesting. That's like goes hand in hand with what I'm saying. Like the rock climbing thing. It's like we're all fucking Alex Honnold.
Yeah.
Climbing El Cap. We're reaching the top. No fucking wires attached to us.
I think the Dawn Wall is not quite as good as Free Solo, but it's really worth a watch.
I very much agree with that.
Have you read the Dawn Wall?
I watched the documentary on Netflix.
Yeah,
there's a book too.
No. Excuse
watched
me.
it.
I
Sorry,
don't
sorry.
even. I guess.
Dude, the Dawn Wall is fascinating.
It's incredible.
Free Solo's amazing. Free Solo. If you guys aren't familiar with it, I'm sure you are. The guy climbs this very tall, famous peak in Yosemite without any wires or anything. But the Dawn Wall is in a way as if not more interesting for a variety of reasons. But please tell us what you think about it.
The climbing seems strangely more technical,
And it is. But like
their route is harder. They're using ropes.
It's significantly harder.
But they're using ropes. They're on the wall for like 20 days.
They live on the wall.
Yeah.
They camp in a tent on the wall for
Yeah.
like 20 days.
But
How the fuck do you do that?
beyond that, the life stories of the guys, the fucking beginning 20 minutes,
Dude,
where the Tommy or whatever, they're climbing in
Kyrgyzstan.
and they get kidnapped by
They get kidnapped by Uzbek insurgents in the mountains.
insurgents,
Yeah.
and he pushes one of them off a cliff
And kills
and
him.
kills-
He ends up surviving, but he thought he
thinks
killed
he's
him.
killed the guy, and then he has to like carry that with him his whole life.
And he was all fucked up about it. He's just this sweet, nice
Yeah.
kid. But they're literally kidnapped in Kyrgyzstan in the mountains for like 5 or 6 days or something.
Yeah.
And eventually end up pushing this guy off the cliff. Not to mention, later in the fucking thing, like 20 minutes later, he accidentally saws his most
fingers
important finger off.
Yeah.
So now he's climbing with like only 9 fingers and he's still like it's really impressive.
It's worth watching the Dawn Wall if you're craving a very good documentary.
And that's Dawn, like Dawn.
Yeah.
Because I remember like somebody said to me, "Have you seen Dawn Wall?" I'm like, "You mean John Wall, the point guard?" They're like, "No, Dawn Wall." I'm like, "Who's Dawn
Is it
Wall?"
John? I thought it was a D pronounced J, like Django.
The Dawn Wall. Dude, I have a question. Have you seen Abducted in Plain Sight?
All right.
Someone asked us about
tried, and I couldn't finish it.
Did you get far enough to realize that the guy bangs the whole family?
Yes.
How crazy is that? This guy, he's like manipulating and like abusing this teenager. She's even younger than a teenager, I think. And then like to kind of stay in their good graces, he bangs the mom and then he ends up like jerking off the dad.
Yeah.
It's this crazy.
No,
it's really
nuts.
crazy.
It's nuts.
All right.
And I couldn't finish it.
That genre's getting old to me a little.
Well, they did a new one that everyone finally seemed to like draw the line on. There's a new murder Netflix documentary
Oh, and everybody's like done with
that
murder.
everyone's watching, and it was #1 on their trending or whatever. And a lot of people complained and said, this is too graphic. This is too far.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which is crazy to me because, you know, how do you draw the line in true crime docs?
Isn't that the
The
point?
Ted Bundy one, like, well, how is that? You know, apparently they were saying that the photographs that they used from the crime scenes, which include blood splatters and you know, whatever, all kinds of horrific things, that it was just that they were, I don't think the word's glorifying, but they were using it for dramatic purposes in the documentary, and it had gone too far.
They were like exploiting it.
And it's like, really? How do you fucking draw the line? I feel
Right.
like way back, you know, so we've become obsessed with these true crime documentaries
Right.
that at this
what do
point,
you expect?
how can you say that one is worse than the next?
Yeah, are you supposed to make a documentary about candy bar thieves?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the crimes need to get progressively worse, the things
Yeah.
that we're covering in order for people to be interested, right?
Yeah. The Jinx still stands out to me as the one I
The
like
best
the
one.
best.
The best one. The Jinx, the Robert Durst one. It's on
Yeah.
HBO.
Yeah, HBO.
It's really fucking good. We don't have to give any spoilers, but if you haven't watched it, don't Google it and go watch it right now.
Yeah.
It's only 4 episodes. It's really fucking good.
Cool. So what's happening?
Dude, what do you...
You mentioned the pandemic.
the pandemic.
Pitch
So
25.
Pitch 25, is there anything that sticks out to you as something you miss that you didn't think of earlier on? Because I know earlier on that was like an easier thing to think about. Like, what do you miss? Life is now just feels like a different life. So we're kind of like used to it, but are there still things that stick out to you as things that you're like, man, I miss that?
I miss getting fucked up at a sports bar where you're speaking to your group of friends, and then all of a sudden you turn and you're shoulder to shoulder with a random dude, and you can just start talking to him too.
That sounds good. He offers you some blow.
Or like you just kind of hit it off, but you're not really talking about anything, but you hand each other a shot. All of a sudden you got a new friend for the day. You'll never talk to him again.
It's great. That
But
is
like,
really fun.
that's fun, man.
It's really
bumping, spilling on your. Ooh, shoot! It's crowded in here.
I know. You miss shitty things.
Yeah,
Like spilling fucking so many people sweating. I miss workout classes. I miss that part
Yeah.
where you're holding an impossible position and they're counting down and
Yeah.
then they go to help someone else and you realize they've lost count and you're
Yeah.
like, this is so fucking annoying. It's not 5, it's over.
yeah.
5,
and you
4.
and you go even harder because there's a pregnant woman to your left who's got no problem holding the pose or finishing the mountain climbers, and you're like, you're working around a medicine ball in your stomach. How in the hell are you doing this?
Dude, I know.
And you sign up, and the class is so expensive that you have to go. And you even on the way there, you just know that in 1 hour you'll feel good about yourself.
Totally. It's crazy.
I do miss exercise
nice.
classes. I do miss
Exercise
that.
classes are fun, man.
The
spa. I love the
you
spa.
you love the
I
spa.
love the
You're a big
spa.
spa guy.
Miss the spa. I don't know,
Um,
dude.
I miss I don't know. I miss impulsive purchases in a way, even though I also don't miss those. Like
I didn't like know you that well during that time. Like you're like slowly letting on that you were just like an impulsive purchase guy at one
a
point.
day where you've had a few drinks at brunch, and all of a sudden you're window shopping, you're walking along, and the mannequin is wearing something
Right.
sick.
Because
And you're
dude,
like, I
like
want to see what that store, and you go in and you buy something.
you buy like items. You have like you buy like nice fucking. You'll be like, I bought this sick coat.
Yeah,
You don't
I
buy- you
don't
know?
buy frequently, but when I do, I
You go for it.
buy the wrong things. Yeah, I buy
But
regret
dude,
purchases.
Whatever, man. It's fun. That's
I'm going. You mentioned that things are tough right now, and I realized this, and so I am going on a trip tomorrow.
awesome.
I'm going to see my family in Florida,
Good for you.
just for 3 or 4 days, and I told my girlfriend that we should not do it together.
Wow.
And I just think that I got to tell you, in my mind at least, I'm doing it for her.
Why?
I think she needs a break from me. and there's definitely a part of me that worries that when I'm gone, she's going to realize how good things are. That she and the dog are going to have this peaceful,
You think you're difficult?
happy. I think I've gotten tough lately. I have a bit of a sullen air about me. I carry a little bit of a cloud.
Debbie Downer, Francis.
Yeah, and I'm a little too snappy these days.
Interesting.
And so I want to give her a break from me. And
Was that a difficult conversation to have?
no. I didn't put it that way. I just said I'm gonna go see my parents, and I also knew that this is the end of her financial year, like this week.
Oh, God.
Their calendar goes to the end of January, and so this is her busiest work week of the year. So she couldn't take a day and go fly down to Florida.
Got it.
And so I said, why don't you let me just go, and I'm just gonna go play golf with my dad and read and get a little bit of sunshine. Dude, I haven't left like a 2-block radius in 2 months, with the exception of going into Manhattan for the parking videos on Thursdays.
Right. Dude, crazy.
I don't move. I don't go anywhere. I don't move.
Well, good. This will be fun. You'll have a good time. It's good to shake it up.
And then we're supposed to go to Jamaica in 3 weeks.
That'll be great. Good, dude, good. You're
I need to
starting a
get my
nice little...
Base tan. Got to get my base tan.
Starting a nice little fucking itinerary, man. That's
Yeah, I've got these trips. Well, I don't know. What about you, man? What do you miss?
I mean, dude, just, some of those things that I kind of said before, and just trying to stay positive and kind of trying to be healthy these next couple months, and, hoping for brighter skies as the weather starts to get warm and as people start to get vaccines, and hopefully, the summer will be okay or kind of normal, maybe, who knows, but
here's one for you. I miss seeing happy kids.
Oh, interesting.
It'd be very easy to make a fucking pedophile joke here, but I won't even do it. I miss seeing kids who just got out of school.
Yeah.
Running around, pumped.
Yeah.
They're always pumped. They're chasing each other. They got, their hair's all over the place. They got skinned kneecaps, lunch boxes banging around.
Yeah.
Holding the hand of a mother or a parent or a nanny or something, and they're recapping their day even though nothing happened.
What'd you do today?
Well, so-and-so brought a gerbil into school. Had pink nose.
That's cute, dude.
Yeah, man, I miss kids. I miss liveliness. I miss a lot of that stuff. Stuff you don't even know you miss.
Well, dude, like spontaneity is another thing. Like,
sure,
the possibilities are just endless when things are normal.
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, at least. Like, I remember, like, when we were in high school, we used to go to bachelor parties of people we didn't know, because what they would do, they would sell tickets to the bachelor party. To, like,
what are you talking about?
Okay, I swear. So at the Lions Club, they have these bachelor parties.
What's the Lions Club?
Like, I don't know what the fuck. It's like the Elks Club, the Lions Club.
Oh, one of those types.
I don't know
what.
I don't even know what the fuck they are. I don't know if it's like a union thing or if it's just like, I actually don't even know.
That might be what it is.
But it's like a space that you can rent out. So these guys would throw a bachelor party, and then I think maybe to pay for the bachelor party, they would sell tickets to it. And like, I don't know how one of my buddy Scott, like, figured this out. And he's like, dude, we should go to this bachelor party. It's going to be crazy. And we were like 16. And dude, we buy tickets to this bachelor party. No one checks how old we are or whatever. And there's just unlimited beer, unlimited food. And then like 40 minutes into it, 10 strippers waltz in.
Oh my God.
And there's just like this crazy party with all these strippers. And we're like underage kids fucking having the time of our lives. Like, this is fucking awesome. The way you said you're making friends with guys at a sports bar, I'm making friends with fucking Harold.
Welders.
Yeah, exactly. Just making friends with these random fucking guys. And dude, it was so much fun. And like, shit like that just doesn't happen anymore.
No.
Like these days, like the way Friday night can just take you for a loop. You start your night, you plan your night, you're having drinks, and all of a sudden you're out till 4 a.m. having a blast. We talked about this before, but like you said, hopefully the period that follows this will be very prosperous and fun.
I do miss a little bit of the weekend being so distinct from the week.
Yeah.
Almost to the point where on Sunday night you'd almost be glad in a way that the weekend was over
You
to
got it out
get
of your
back to
system.
your routine, to cleanse your body out, to sleep at a decent hour and know that you were kind of getting back on track for the week.
Yeah.
I liked having the weekend and the week be two totally separate things instead of it all just sort of bleeding into one.
I feel you. Dude, there's been a couple weekends recently where I've been like, I miss the week. Like there's so little to do on the weekend that I actually prefer the week over the weekend.
Yeah.
Like at least during the week I might get a residual check or something. Like the good things can happen.
Yeah.
On the weekend it's just stagnation
Mm.
and like nothingness, you know?
I miss going to the movies.
Oh my God.
I
Me too.
loved going to the movies.
Me
I
too.
loved it. And especially when you'd find movie theaters that had the lie flat seats
Oh, those are great.
and then you'd sneak in. What kind of stuff did you sneak into the movies?
I never really would do that. Like in high school, there was definitely times where I'd go see one movie and then just stay in the theater and go to another one.
Mm.
I haven't really done it as an adult, but like,
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about what items would you boof into the movie theater?
dude, some guy wrote like an open letter, some like movie theater employee being like, guys, like we don't care if you fucking smuggle shit.
Yeah.
Like you could walk in here looking like a 6-year-old going out to go sledding.
Yeah, but
You have
some
so much shit
places,
packed
some
in
places do. The major movie chains like the Regals and the AMCs, I've found tend to.
I no longer do that. I just buy shit at the movie theater.
Yeah.
I buy the popcorn, whatever. $8,
But
I don't give a
sometimes,
fuck.
sometimes we would get into the habit of bringing dinner in,
Oh, whoa, that's crazy.
and we'd pass each other some tacos.
That's
you know,
fun.
quietly,
That's fun. Yeah, that
and everyone's like,
tough.
"Why does it smell like a restaurant?
Like chalupas in here."
Yeah.
Dude, that's great. The places are like, that's another thing. Like in the last couple years leading up to this, the movie theater experience had become very experiential
Yeah.
because of the fact that, you know, watching TV on your couch started to be serious competition.
Mm-hmm.
So like you could go get dinner at the fucking movie theater.
That's right.
Like Nighthawk and like some
Yeah,
of
there
the
were
other
some
ones.
really nice places that had become luxurious. So yeah, movies.
Well, dude, what about this? What are things, because this is not to be too, you know, gloomy. I think that what will end up happening is once life resumes, there will actually be things about the pandemic that we miss.
Maybe.
What
but,
will those things be?
But I think we will now take a lot of those things with us. We've been shown two sides of a separate coin or whatever. I don't know what I mean. Two different facets of life,
Mhm.
and we can kind of pick and choose. I don't think that once things open up, I'm gonna go, dive head first into boozing in sports bars and all the craziness that I had a couple years ago.
Right.
Because I was already starting to wean away from that.
Right. Well, what about though, like at the gym when there's some fucking guy hogging the bench and you're like, how many more sets you got, bro? Like not having to do that right now is great. Even though you have to work out with a mask on, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The gym not being crowded, the airport not being crowded are two things that I will miss when the pandemic is over.
Yeah, I think airports being crowded again will be a bummer.
At least JFK, because JFK sucks. Like I've been to other airports during this where it's been crowded. So like Atlanta was pretty crowded. Like there's been different, but JFK has been like noticeably dead this whole time, which has been so lovely.
Mm-hmm.
Spending getting to spend more time with my family
Yeah.
than I normally would, being
Yeah.
able to just go up there on a whim.
Yeah.
I'll miss having weeknights off because I'll be doing stand up again, presumably.
You think you get back into that?
Yeah, maybe not. But like you said, now that I've seen what life is like, not doing it constantly, maybe I'll, give myself more nights off.
It's funny. I was speaking with a club owner, a club booker, the other day. He asked me if I wanted to do a outdoor tent heated show in Brooklyn in a week or two. And I texted him back and I was like, I haven't performed in 3 months. I honestly don't want to. And because I know this guy well enough to say that to him, or I think that's kind of what I said. And he was like, well, you got to make sure you stay in the game. You don't want to get lapped. That's what he said.
Yeah,
And he
I don't know if
named
any
some other
lapping is
comics
happening.
who are continuing to do it. And I don't feel, it's like, well, go ahead.
Lap me.
Let the people who are that committed burst forward. I'd be very happy to watch, the real diehard artists surge and continue to get better. I got other stuff going on. I got other things that make me happy.
Good, man. Good. But there's some silver linings here that we're finding during the pandemia.
I'm on the verge.
Pandemia.
I'm like on the verge of retiring from stand-up.
You want to talk more about that?
Not really. I don't want that to get out until I actually decide.
My prediction for you is that you will get the spark again.
I don't think so.
Well, dude, listen, we could start
fucking hate so much of that shit.
We could start like a financial firm together, dude, or something. I feel like all you have to do is include the word capital in the name and everyone believes it.
There you go.
Oops, capital.
You've been watching these big stocks like GameStop
Yeah,
and
man.
AMC.
It's been crazy.
Do you understand it?
I do a little. I was trying to talk to Chris about it. So essentially what was happening, I guess I'm like paraphrasing, I think, but all these like big hedge funds and like Wall Street things were kind of taking these short positions on GameStop.
Yeah.
And I don't know like what the reasoning was behind it, but I think people on Reddit just thought it would be funny to like make the complete opposite happen and make a bunch of money by buying a ton of it, telling everybody to buy a ton of it, driving the value up for no reason, and then making all these guys eat shit who took these short positions on them.
Yeah, but why, if that was so easy, why hadn't it happened before? And why doesn't it just keep happening?
So I think that like, I don't know if I think they like halted trading on it at the end of the day or something. And they're going to kind of figure out how to like combat this moving forward. But dude, it happened again today with Nokia. Nokia went up 55% for no reason.
Dear God.
That's been a fucking dead duck for years, bro. I was invested in Nokia for years and it never did shit. I sold it. To watch it go up 50% in one day is just so disheartening. But whatever. So I don't know actually what's going to happen, but it's interesting to see all these kind of like apps that make it really easy to invest impact the market. There's a lot of things like Tesla and a lot of these like companies where people aren't seeing how their earnings translate into this massive value where the stock just keeps going up and up and up. So maybe there's a tech bubble, maybe there's something this or that. I don't know what the fuck's going on, but it's interesting. It's interesting you bring that up.
Yeah.
I don't know. Are you an investor? You
No.
dabble?
No.
No.
I don't know it well enough. I have my 401k
That's good.
is invested and then I have some money for way down the road that's invested not aggressively but more in like treasury bonds and safer things like that.
Dude, I'm sure that'll grow nicely.
Once I have money, I know that I should invest it. I understand that, let your money work for you and all that, but I'm just not smart enough in that realm.
Right.
I don't trust myself to gamble on equities.
Right. It's fair, dude.
Mm.
Whatever. Dude, we got some good emails here.
Good.
Maybe we can tap into these if you are interested.
Please.
While I'm pulling this up, I have one other thought that's interesting. Do you know the names of flowers and or apples?
It's great. Great question.
I feel like women know the name of every apple and every flower.
Okay.
And I know the name of neither.
I wouldn't have said apples so much. I definitely know the names of apples, but I don't know that that's a women-specific thing. But I will say that knowing the names of flowers is hard. It's very, very hard. There are a lot of them, and a lot of them have very confusing names.
And dude, like I'll just be walking with any girl and they'll be like, oh yeah, the whatever. And I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Where did you research this? Like this seems like something that needed to be researched. How they just know? They just know that they like.
It's a good question. It's a good question. I wonder how much of that is that, women are as young children, flowers, I hate to say it, tend to be something that like decorate young girls' clothing, and whereas we put more masculine themes on our young boys or whatever, and so we're just setting them on a path of like
learning about flowers.
That being a gender thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's a great question, dude. Like, do you know what a lily is?
I know I've heard of it. I couldn't fucking
You
pick
couldn't
one out.
point out. You wouldn't know something was a lily.
The only thing I can point out is a hydrangea because that's what Hillary likes.
Okay. Yeah, hydrangea.
And I just learned about that in the last couple
It's funny,
years.
like, why did it need to be hydrangea, right? Because clearly hydrangeas have a Latin name, and I'm sure that the name hydrangea comes from the Latin name. It's probably like Hydrangeapus lotipus, something like that.
Do you know that?
My guess would be that the name hydrangea is some derivation of its Latin name.
And I wasn't saying, do you know that to check you? I'm just assuming you do because you're like an
No, I
English
don't know
tutor.
that for sure.
Okay,
But think.
I
My
just
point
thought
is,
I assumed you would know that. Is the only reason why I was.
my
wondering.
point is the name hydrangea should never have been the name in the first place, unless they needed to take it from the Latin name.
Interesting. Interesting. Chris.
Okay, yeah. So the Latin name, the scientific name is Hydrangea macrophylla.
Interesting.
And it's of the higher classification. But it's like, why couldn't they have called that a hide flower?
Right. That also
Why
sounds like
isn't
a
it hide
disease.
flower?
Hydrangea macrophilia.
Or
Yeah, but you're right.
or
Could've been simpler.
or a drange. Like, why did it need every flower? Seems so many flowers have so many multiple syllable names,
No, I know.
and
I don't
it
even.
seems easy. Like animals, moose. You know, that's not the moose's Latin name. Latin name for moose is probably Musipus susipus, and yet people had the generosity to say, let's make it simple. Moose, that's it, right? Whereas the flower namers were like clearly very high-minded and superior and didn't want to cut much off.
Right.
What's the Latin name for moose? Alcis. That's fucking awesome.
Fuck. Alcis.
Are you sure about that?
The Latin for moose is alcis. Why on earth is it two alcis?
Yeah.
Moose or
Well,
alcis?
then my point is, look,
Isn't
great,
alce,
moose is much
porn?
easier than that. Maybe.
Alce, whatever. Moose. But you're right.
So okay, and then you've got,
Lilac, couldn't point it out. Tulip, can't point it out. Rose, I can
you
point
know
it
what a
out.
tulip is.
I may not. Dandelion.
You know what a
That's
dandelion
isn't that a
is.
weed?
It is. It's got the white furry things that blow away.
Okay,
in the
I know
wind.
those are. That's not a flower though. But bro, I don't know. Sunflower, I guess I even know.
You
what
would
that
know
looks
what
like.
a tulip is too.
I may.
What was the first one you said? Lilac. Lilacs are gorgeous.
Are they purple?
They are.
They are.
grow
See?
on. It's
Chris
a tree.
apparently knows about fucking flowers over. He's nodding his head.
I think you know more than you think you do.
This is all I got. That's
It's
all I
when
got.
you get into the different flowers that are found at flower stores and in bouquets that it gets confusing.
My mom will just start talking about flowers and apples, and I think she's talking another language. She's
You
like, the whatever flower, and ooh, this delicious macaon.
Yeah.
What the fuck is a macaon?
I like the flowers that have really weird almost names that almost sound like sailors' knots.
Like what? You
Like
got one?
this is a bleeding Tommy's last wish. This is there's some that have
Bleeding
that a drunk Alfred, whatever.
Drunk Alfred's secret.
Yeah, Bob's last hope. They only bloom for 2 weeks in June.
Dude, that's
There
great.
are some flowers that have names like that.
Bob's last hope. That's
Yeah.
very funny. Okay.
What do you got any of those ones there, Chris?
Right, but some funny names. Let's see.
Funny named flowers. Swamp lousewort, bastard toadflax, adder's tongue spearwort, right? Mad dog skullcap. These sound like weed strains. Spiny leaved sow thistle.
I saw was one called false positive. I just saw the word false. I don't know, dude. That's
Scurfpea, false hellebore, humped bladderwort. Yeah.
humped bladderwort.
I like the ones that have somewhat poetic names.
That's so
Yeah.
funny, dude. So wait, so I have one other thought. I signed up for this app called Clubhouse.
Okay.
Have you heard of it? It's like an app where you need like an invitation or something.
Hmm.
I don't know, whatever. I don't think it's that hard to get one. But dude, anytime I join a new app, it'll be like, do you want us to go into your address book and see who else is on the app? And I'm like, sure. And then I start reading through those and I'm like, who the fuck are these people? I don't
Your
know
contacts?
who. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I've just accrued contacts over 17 years or whatever since I've had a cell phone.
Yeah.
And like the same names are in it from back. I literally don't know who half of the people are
Yeah.
in my contact list.
One of the best apps that I ever downloaded, I think it was called Drunk Contacts.
That is hilarious.
And it allowed you to search and find only contacts that you'd added to your phone
Like
in a
at
certain
2 a.m.?
time frame. No, but it would be like, okay, so I remember that I was in, Martha's Vineyard this weekend and I met this girl, but I can't remember her name, and I know I saved it in my phone drunk at a bar one night. Who the hell was she? And this app would allow you to go back and see that where you were on that weekend, what contacts you
That's
named,
crazy.
and it'd always be like, like Mary Skid Marks or something.
Oh my god!
And in your phone, you'd have saved it as
Yeah,
something
it's
funny,
something.
and you'd be like, "Bingo! I'm gonna hit up old Skids, see
my
if she
God.
wants to have a drink some night."
That's a funny app idea. That's like a college kid app. Something that college kids think of.
Right.
Have you ever noticed, like, every time, like, in college, your friend who was like really like entrepreneurial would think of an idea that only benefited college kids?
Yeah.
Like, what if you could order whatever you want at 3 a.m.? Wouldn't that be sick? Like, it's for college kids, or like the guys who sell passes to Cancun.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, you gotta, I don't know, whatever.
The ones that I often heard were people selling furniture from their senior year down to the juniors.
Oh, that's
like once they
interesting.
graduated, here's a marketplace for my old futon or
That's clever.
whatever it is.
I encourage any college kids listening to think more about the greater public, because the college kids only represent a certain part of the population, which means you're not going to make that much fucking money.
Right.
Although I guess Facebook started that way, so what the fuck do I know? Okay, emails. This email made me laugh, so I hope that you enjoy it too. Hey, Francis and Giulio. First off, I want to say that I'm a big fan and love the show. But to begin the story, so first let me say the title of this email is "Making Fun of My Girlfriend's Job."
Okay. I got this email too.
Oh, you did?
And this email like blew my mind. All right. So read it, but know right off the bat that I'm not necessarily on board with, I think, this email.
Okay, yeah. Well, we can discuss.
Yeah.
And you guys can say what you think about it. But he goes, but to begin the story, my girlfriend works at Olive Garden as a server, but due to the pandemic, she has to deal with to-go orders. She always tells me how customers are always trying to pull a quick one on her to get an extra salad or get their whole meal for free because she made a, quote, mistake.
This is not the email I was thinking of.
Okay. She tells me that when she deals with these customers, they are always very confrontational and it never ends well for both parties. One day, after she told me one of these stories, I responded, I mean, you do work at an Olive Garden. What do you expect? And she flipped the fuck out, saying I was disrespectful and like degrading her job. I had no intentions of making her feel this way. I just thought it was a funny joke. I don't know how it would be degrading her job when I'm a soccer coach for a bunch of 12-year-olds that can't run 10 feet without falling over. I still don't think she's over it. Francis, I feel like you've been in my shoes, which I thought was hilarious.
Sure have.
And then he goes, please help Jose. So, dude, I agree. I don't think he was like, it's Olive Garden. Like, apparently the fucking clientele are just like being shisty. Like, I don't think it's necessarily a dig.
Yeah, I agree with him and I agree with you. I don't think that that's particularly insulting. It's not saying, she works at Olive Garden. I can't imagine she thinks that she works at some place of haute cuisine.
Totally. That would be like if your girlfriend was a stripper and she came home and complained about the fact that a guy crumpled up $1 and threw it in her face.
Yeah.
And her boyfriend was like, well, you're a stripper. What do you expect? And her flipping out.
Exactly.
It's not like, it is true. Like, he's not saying being a stripper is bad. He's just saying, in your line of work, this shit happens. And I imagine, Olive Garden, as we all know, not the fanciest restaurant in the world.
No.
Likely a bunch of bargain shoppers who are trying to pull fast ones. You know what I mean? It comes with the territory.
Any restaurant that is known for having unlimited anything.
Amen, dude. Fucking preach.
If that's how they're getting people in, you can't be surprised when the clientele is less than, ideal.
Totally. Dude, it's funny. I was thinking about this the other day. The two best restaurants with, for some reason, the worst clientele, in my opinion, are Dairy Queen and Pizza Hut. I think they're both amazing and like both a really negative experience when you actually go to either of them.
To you go and eat at those places.
I'm not above it.
When was the last time you went and ate at a Pizza Hut?
That's
nuts.
A really long time.
That is nuts.
Okay,
to me.
Dairy Queen was at this year. But Pizza Hut, it's probably been a decade.
I would
So
go to a
maybe-
Dairy Queen drive-through any day of the week. Though they're whatever. What's their is
Blizzard.
it Blizzard? Yeah,
It's-
the Blizzard
it's-
is amazing.
Yeah, Chris just did the turn. That's so degrading that they make them do that. Turn the Blizzard upside down, dude. That's fun. Like I
So
I
what's
hate
the point
holding
of
the
that?
I
What's the
hate
point of
holding the Blizzard upside down. Well, that's because you work at Dairy Queen. Fuck you.
Is this a thing? I've never heard of
Yeah,
this.
the Blizzard is supposed to not do anything when you turn it upside down. That's the point of it. And then they hand it to you.
I see. I would not go. I wouldn't eat. I don't know why I would be eating within a Dairy Queen.
Right. I mean, listen.
Or especially a Pizza Hut.
Maybe I just have this romantic vision of Pizza Hut from my childhood then, and maybe I need to revisit, and maybe it fucking sucks or something. But dude, Dairy Queen, I stand by it. I fuck with Dairy
By the way,
Queen.
it's not that I'm superior. I'm just
I don't
too
think- I'm not-
old. I'm
Right.
too old. Once I have kids, I'm sure maybe we'll go to a Pizza Hut or a Dairy Queen. But those are childhood restaurants. They're childhood restaurants.
Debatably, I think Dairy Queen holds up into adulthood.
Do you eat food from Dairy Queen?
No, just ice cream.
Okay. I got an email for you.
Oh,
This is the one
man.
I was referring to, and I didn't even want to read it because it's so nuts. But I'm going to read it so that you see why I thought it was nuts. The title of the email, What I Hate About My Girlfriend.
Oh my god.
Hey, Francis and Giulio. I was with my girlfriend today, and for some reason, she decided to say multiple things she hates about me, which is fine. But I think it's fair for me to say something I didn't like about her in return. I told her that I hated that whenever she's talking to anyone, she tries to one-up their story. It would be totally fine if this happened every once in a while, but this happens every time we are together, to the point where people have brought it up to me multiple times.
It's a very bad quality.
Am I right to bring this up?
Very bad quality.
So the reason I didn't like this email is just so negative. It's not funny. No offense. It's just sounds like a bad relationship.
Right. Why
Why are you sharing the things you hate about each other?
That's true. That
It's not a good exercise. It's not a building
that's
thing.
bad. I will say this though, that is a really, really bad quality.
Yes.
You can't even get something out, and for some reason you trigger someone's insecurity that they immediately have to be like, oh well, I fucking my dick's 8 inches
Dude, it's
actually.
one of the
Yours
reasons I
is-
hate hanging out with comedians.
It can be tough.
That's all they do.
It can be tough.
Your story's funny. Wait till you hear mine.
Yes, dude. So it's funny. This is an interesting thing. This sort of transitions into it. We were talking about the divorce game.
Yes.
And someone emailed us something very interesting. There's this researcher who can tell after a 15-minute interview whether or not a couple is going to eventually divorce or not. And he has a 90%, or he and her, it's a guy and a girl, have a 90% success rate.
Heavens.
And there's 4 characteristics that they look for. And, one of them is something that just was addressed in this email. So these are the 4 things that suggest that perhaps you're going to end up not having a successful relationship. Number 1, criticism. 2, contempt.
Yeah.
3, defensiveness. And 4 is stonewalling, which I'm not totally clear on what that means.
Stonewalling is when you, as I understand it, it's like if you started to say something to, and I was like, no, that's
You just
not
shut
right.
it down.
Yeah.
And dude, it's funny. I've seen so many of these things in relationships, and I do think I'm like, ooh, this is not.
Yeah, but
What are you talking about?
Doesn't that seem obvious to you though?
Yeah.
That if you watched a couple criticize, stonewall, what were the other ones?
Defensiveness.
Be defensive and
Contempt.
be contemptible to each other in a 15-minute conversation the first time you met them,
Right.
you'd be like, those people aren't doing well.
That's true. Maybe those are skewed statistics.
It's like it's almost as obvious to me as it's saying like, yeah, the things that make me think a couple's gonna get divorced, if they hit each other.
if she has a black eye.
Yeah, if
Oh
they're
my God.
fucking furious with each other all the time.
Right.
It's like, all right, scientists, you really cracked the code.
That's very
I was
funny.
expecting slightly more subtle clues from this social scientist.
All right, so we got another good one here. Let me see what you think about this.
Okay.
I'm not going to tell you the subject line because it's a spoiler. I live at the Delaware beaches, and honestly, the best way to meet people right now is online dating and to spread your radius a bit, which I'm sure a lot of people do living in small towns since COVID. So I always end up matching with quite a few guys from New Jersey. One in particular I matched with on Christmas Eve, and we ended up really hitting it off, chatting on the phone every night for 5 to 6 hours. We made a plan to meet up on New Year's Eve. He made the trip down here, and when he got here, there was a ton of chemistry, but it was almost like we already established so much of a history that it was weird being around each other. Hooking up was for sure weird because we had already had phone sex, so it was almost like we both knew that what we liked, but the vibe was off. I personally took 2020 to focus on myself and hadn't hooked up with anyone for quite some time, and to make a long event short, I was going down on him, and when he came, I think my head was in a weird position and cum ended up streaming out of my nose.
Oh my God.
Awkward. She wrote that in the email. I didn't just say that. And I thought it was a lot more funny than he did. All in all, the whole evening wasn't bad. For sure, some personality clash and interesting sexual experiences, but I thought it was worth another try. When he left the next morning, I texted him when he got home that I would like to give it another shot. He told me that he felt it all moved incredibly too fast and that he wasn't interested in hanging out again.
Ugh, what a loser.
I think that the question I want to unpack is there such thing as talking too much before meeting someone that the buildup makes expectations not line up with reality?
It's great.
Then how do you pull the brakes with online long distance when the point is you're going to get to know somebody before you meet them?
So I'm so glad. Lots to unpack here.
It's a good question.
Yeah, it's a great thought. And I think the New York Times, or there was an article I actually blogged a few weeks ago about how there were a lot of couples that were going through this. Not couples necessarily, but people who were meeting online, doing the, this whole really intense dating without having met each other is a new phenomenon.
Right.
Where they're doing phone sex and they're FaceTiming all the time, hours and hours, and they feel really comfortable talking to each other, and they think that automatically everything is just going to carry over into the physical world. But then when they finally meet up, all of a sudden, the bottom has fallen out, and they don't have the same chemistry in person, and there can be so many reasons for that. You might not like the smell of somebody, right? That doesn't carry over through Zoom or FaceTime, right? You might not realize that someone's not as tall as you thought that they were. That's a big one. Everyone's the same height when they're sitting down in front of a fucking computer screen.
Yeah, it's true.
You might not realize that their skin is not as tan or is too pale or whatever it is.
Whatever like petty physical thing that matters. You know what I mean? Like if you're, not attracted to them. And dude, I think something that shouldn't be underestimated, and I relate this to like middle school, because in middle school you were like too afraid to like talk to a girl you liked, and then you might end up just like AIM messaging with them 7 hours a night, and then you see them in person and it's just weird. Yeah,
you're
like,
terrified.
Don't know how to act. It's like a whole different thing, and it's hard to come back from that sometimes. So I think there's definitely something to be said to like establishing some kind of physical relationship, and I don't even mean sexually. Physical, like you've hung out in person. You can definitely blow your load too early by too much messaging without meeting the person, or just too much messaging in general. I think it's important to have balance in your day and in your life. And if you're just texting a person the entire day, you need to find something else to do with that time.
That's
especially early on.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. But I also would say that just because your chemistry through Zoom was magical and then in person it didn't work out doesn't mean that was a failed relationship. That may have just been a very successful Zoom relationship, right?
Right.
Meaning you two were never meant to meet each other.
Interesting, man.
You were meant to be pen pals who, jerked off in front of each other on opposite sides of the world. That's what you were. And then in the physical realm, you were never meant to meet. And that's fine. I think that the world has asked that of people.
It's not the end of the world.
In this time. Has said, like, find companionship however you will. And, but just keep in mind that, you don't know a person until you sit next to them, stand next to them, hug them.
Right.
You can hide so much. You can hide, people think you can hide a lot in photos. You can doctor photos, right? And then somehow Zoom and FaceTime, it's more revealing. You can still hide so much in FaceTime and Zoom.
Yeah, totally. And you know what? Embrace it. The best condom in the world is a webcam.
It's That's right.
You can't get pregnant and you can't get a fucking STD if you're
Sure
just
can't.
stroking it in front of the camera, dude.
Dude, our friend Dylan Palladino, I did his podcast, and he talked a lot about all the he's had multiple like phone or Zoom relationships, kind of dated people through Zoom that he didn't meet, and they would do all kinds of sessions with each other. And it sounded quite erotic, actually. Even just listening him talk about it turned me on a
You're
little
getting
bit.
A little fucking...
He told me that one girl, you know, he finished before her, and then she wanted to keep going, but he was disgusted with himself, understandably. So he took the phone and put it he stood he was in the shower cleaning himself off while she was like finishing.
Climaxing? Oh my God.
Which to me, by the way, sounded horrible.
Selfish
the
lover,
moment
Dylan, dude.
Oh my God.
Come on, Dylan. Step it up.
Well, he's wearing himself at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, I don't. I would
man.
want to.
I feel you.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Good God.
Awesome, man.
Well, we
Oops,
don't
the
envy
podcast, baby.
the single people, but we also wish them well.
We do indeed. Good luck out there.
Yeah. Take us home, G.
Thank you guys for listening. Oops, the podcast. Please subscribe to our YouTube, comment, message us, engage with us. We love talking to you, and we've been having a great time doing this. So thank you for joining us. I'm at Not Julio. He's at Francis CCLS. Follow us and message us, and that's it. Goodbye.
Thank you for watching that video. If you liked it, there are plenty more where that came from. Click on this link, and also please like and subscribe our YouTube channel.
Oops.